Hello everyone, I'm Christina McCauley.
And I'm Kyle Kittleson. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Orange Slices.
We have a great show lined up for you with more great slices.
That's right, Slices of Life, featuring the fantastic people, places, and things that make Orange County such a great place to live.
Coming up in the show, we'll sit down with former Mayor Al Ethans about his many years of service to the city of Stanton and how he came to serve in 2 branches of the military.
We'll also meet a remarkable teen who was born blind but found her way to live life to the fullest through her love of music and so much more.
And we also have a great story for you about a school farm that's being used to teach environmental science.
Will the story have goats?
Yeah, actually the farm does have goats. Why?
Because I love goats, and goats are underappreciated. Sure, people like goat cheese and goat milk, but did you know goats can clear dead brush on hillsides to prevent wildfires? And, of course, goat yoga.
Yeah, but is that really a thing?
Are you disparaging goats?
No, goats are great, but wasn't goat yoga just like a passing?
A what?
Never mind, let's move on.
Why, am I getting your goat?
You're certainly starting to. Come on, let's get this show started. Where are you off to first?
Well, I am headed out to Bracken's kitchen to meet Bill Bracken and his amazing team of volunteers. Bye.
Bye. This is a great story. Bill left his job as top chef at the finest hotels and restaurants to serve people in need. Here's Kyle.
It's another busy morning at Bracken's kitchen, getting free meals ready for Betsy the food truck. Bill Bracken is a nationally renowned chef who spent 35 years working at the finest hotels and restaurants. Now, along with his many volunteers, he works to serve families in need.
There's so much need in Orange County. 48% of our school-age children are on the government subsidized free and reduced meal plan. That's 1 out of 2 kids today won't have lunch without the government's help. So people don't realize that in Orange County.
Bill comes from humble beginnings, where he learned the importance of looking after one another. He started cooking at age 12.
Grew up in a small town in Kansas. Managed to win a competition that took me to the Culinary Institute of America, a place I'd never heard of, and got out of culinary school and landed in luxury hotels where I worked for 25 years, Four Seasons, Peninsula, Beverly Hills, etc.
He was enjoying life as one of the nation's top chefs. Then, in 2009, things changed. The economy turned and the housing market crashed.
I watched a lot of really good people lose their jobs, and when there was no jobs, and men with wives at home who didn't work and newborn kids, just friends of mine, and just struggle to put a meal on the table, stay in their homes, not lose their homes. It's a terrible time.
Bill knew he was being called to use his culinary expertise to help others. He wanted to bring meals where they were needed. It wasn't long before he had a food truck parked in the driveway of his Fountain Valley home.
It wasn't easy, but we're blessed to be here today. Plugged into my house, running my electricity bill through the roof, and prepping on it, cooking on it, and doing everything, and going out and feeding people.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody today?
Today, he runs a commercial kitchen preparing thousands of nutritious hot meals.
Ethan, I got you working on a bunch of salads today. We've got carrot, celery, and onions over there for you to do as well.
We usually come in and we have a board over here that we have all the things that we're going to make for the day, and your name's usually on one of them, and then you just start diving in and cutting up vegetables or mixing up stew or packing food, whatever the need is for the day.
Where does the food come from? That's another great story.
Several different organizations participate. We have some people that bring stuff from the major grocers and distribution centers, so they bring stuff. I've always been fascinated with how do we take and get more efficient about all this food, because our country produces much more food than we can use, so there's lots of waste.
Every day, the kitchen creates recipes based on whatever arrives. Each meal is high in protein and veggies, and while the goal is nutrition, the result is downright delicious.
We make sure that all meals are packed with healthy, nutritious items, mostly vegetables and then protein and starch.
In addition to Betsy, other volunteers pack up meals in their own cars and vans to take to places like the Family Resource Centers in Huntington and Westminster.
I retired a couple of years ago, and I'm usually like to be busy, so one of the things that was of interest to me and is such a big deal right now is how we're dealing with all this homelessness.
And now, Bracken's Kitchen is taking on a new mission. They're developing a culinary training program for people struggling to find jobs. They'll receive valuable training as they make meals for others. Linda is helping to spearhead the program.
The food service industry is, a huge industry, and it has, like, if you look at the labor market statistics, there's a lot of jobs in the food industry. So we're training people for actually an industry that's looking to hire people.
It's evolved into something I certainly didn't imagine. I can't take credit for where we are today. It's just through the grace of God that we're here.
And it's not just people in need on the receiving end of all that happens here at Bracken's Kitchen. The volunteers gain something as well.
We've had lots of amazing stories of volunteers coming in here just because they went through a rough patch. They're trying to find something meaningful to do, and how it's changed their lives and the relationships we've built. So whether it's a volunteer that we managed to help or the people we're feeding, that's really what we exist for, to help people. And what I like to describe us as all the time is we're just a catering company. We just happen to cater to people who can't pay for their meals.
If you'd like to volunteer or learn more about the mission of Bracken's Kitchen, go to brackenskitchen.com.
Next, Kyle catches up with a talented young woman with a remarkable story.
Huntington Beach High School is home to the Academy of Performing Arts, where teens hone their skills in countless rehearsals. One of those teens is Taylor Cox. Her musical talent is undeniable. Her friends love her. Her teachers do too.
It's not just that she's a great student and she comes prepared, but she's also awesome to be around. She's a lot of fun. She's got a lot of fans here in the program, and we are so lucky to have Taylor.
Talent, tenacity. Just two words that describe this ordinary teenager who lives with extraordinary circumstances. Taylor was born without eyes.
She was born, and there were a couple things that looked a little different, but we didn't totally understand it until Mike took her back.
Right after that, a doctor came in and she looked at me, she looked at Taylor, and she looked at me and she said, "Your daughter's blind," like that fast. I was amazed. It was actually like a 30-second assessment, and I'm like, wow. And I shared that with Kim, and it was just really a gut punch, at that time, to hear something about your child, your baby, and that just started us off on a journey that we're at now.
And what a journey it's been. Taylor received prosthetic eyes at 14 months old, and she's had the constant support of her family throughout her 16 years.
We like to make each other laugh, and we just support each other as much as we can. So I go to my sister's softball games, and she goes to my music stuff, and then my mom and dad are awesome, and they go to both. So it's an awesome family to be a part of.
The best thing about growing up with Taylor was that she was always my best friend. She's super funny and charismatic and outgoing, and she's pretty sassy.
I've got a brown eye lover on the other side of town. I don't wanna keep waiting.
One of the ways Taylor expresses that vivacious personality is through her musical abilities. The APA program lets her shine on stage and build friendships.
It means growth as a person. It means friends. It means I get to do what I love in school, which is great for me. And I get to fit in with a group that has the same interests as me. What I'm going to show you today is it can read a barcode on a product so that you know what it is.
The Braille Institute in Anaheim is another place where Taylor's made close friends.
Hello, Brennan.
going to be telling us about...
My skin is orange.
It's been an invaluable resource for the Cox family.
Beautifully done.
Amidst her busy schedule, Taylor also finds time to compose her own music. It can be challenging, but once it's finally finished, it's worth all the hard work.
Something was wrong when Mom walked in the door. So you kind of get that happiness where you get that like feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm like making this work right now. Like this is good. This is gonna be a really pretty song. And then you see the masterpiece that you created and it's like joy.
Taylor has a big heart. She shares her love of music with memory care residents who enjoy every minute of her performance.
They just start singing along, and then other times it's more subtle, but you can hear them. If they really like something, you can hear them tapping their feet and clapping their hands and just really moving to the music. Thank you. That was one I wrote myself, so I'm glad you liked it.
You and I will work together. Working together.
Wherever she goes, Taylor is a bright light. We can all learn something from her positive attitude and zest for life.
Taylor, in the blind community, she's been on the back of Harley Davidson. She met Stevie Wonder. She's like, she's done a lot of really fun things because she always says yes to anything.
She's even said yes to being a guest speaker for companies that create breakthrough technologies for the blind. Taylor, your future is filled with possibilities.
Our mantra in this house is we walk by faith, not by sight. And even though we understand that internally, we have a child who is living it physically. And it's really awesome to be able to see that happening in life and know that that's exactly where we stand.
She wants to go to college. We know a lot of blind people that live independent, and I think Taylor, one of the things she's expressed is she would like to be married and have children, so
yeah.
You know, it's kind of...
We'll be grandparents, yay.
Yeah, so whatever she wants to do, we back her, and I know she's done everything she's wanted to do so far, so I have no doubt she'll accomplish whatever she sets her sights on.
Okay, now we're headed out to the farm for an environmental science lesson from some savvy first graders.
These first graders aren't on a field trip. This is their own school. This 2.5-acre working farm has been on the campus of Golden View Elementary since it opened back in 1972.
It's special because we're the only school that has a farm.
To get a better look around, Aaliyah, Gavin, Mason, and Abby are taking us on a tour.
What happens out here, like we can grow stuff over there, and there's like stuff over there that we've been growing, and also we can like feed the animals. We have roosters, chickens, we also have sheep, and we have ducks, and we have rabbits.
And they get to help take care of the animals, they get to clean after them, they feed them, they get to collect the eggs, they grow in the crops in the garden, and they get to harvest the crops as well.
Back in the 70s, lots of schools had gardens and animals. Farming was still part of the curriculum. But as the years went by, agribusiness declined in Orange County, and few of the farming programs survived the urban sprawl. But there's still much to learn down on the farm. So this year, Golden View is launching a whole new course of study for the environmental science of today.
We help the planet by composting, recycling, repurposing, and reducing.
They've teamed up with the county's Inside the Outdoors program, which works with over 70 different schools to reduce the amount of organic waste going into our local landfills.
Well, working with Golden View has been fantastic. The fact that they have a 2-acre farm on their campus and they have already started composting and they can scale it to the students in different grade levels, it's a perfect fit.
We are out doing hands-on activities. Quite often we're out in the garden using the compost, planting, we're harvesting. We have time to taste all of our wonderful fruits and veggies that we're growing.
In fact, Golden View has also started a culinary program.
So we have a kitchen inside that the kids actually get to take all of the food from the garden and make some recipes up, and they get to try it all out in their classrooms, which is really, really nice.
Out at the lunch tables, everyone is asked to do their part.
We have these buckets. There's the reusable bucket and the milk cartons and composting bucket. My favorite things to learn about is to learn how to recycle, reduce, and reuse. Orange peels and banana peels and other like carrots and grapes that all of them, like the rotten stuff goes in there.
While the program focuses on environmental science, they're also learning compassion as they care for the animals. And healthy habits from eating right. Even math and accounting skills.
They've been collecting data and really charting all of the information, and you can see drastically how much food waste our school has actually cut down on this year.
If we can teach them that at a really young age, we hope that that will continue on for generations to come, that they'll educate their children about that too.
Finally in our show, Kyle sits down with former Mayor Al Ethans from the city of Stanton.
This is part of the plank. This is where you see the sailors scrubbing the deck. This is part of that deck.
Former Stanton Mayor Al Ethans holds one of his prized keepsakes. It's a section of plank from the actual deck of his Navy ship. Now that he's retired, he finally has time to reflect on his service to the city and his service to 2 different branches of the military.
I did not finish high school at first. At the age of 17, my dad gave me a choice. I didn't like the first choice. I took the second one. I joined the United States Navy.
That was in 1947. He went on to serve as a firefighter on what was then a brand new ship.
But it was a light cruiser, USS Worcester, CL-144, and I was stationed aboard it as a fireman first class.
But when the Korean War broke out, he found a better opportunity with the Air Force.
I tried to go overseas. They told me I had too many points, so they put me in Warren, Ohio, of all places. I could go home on the weekends, which I did quite often. And I was in finance. I became paymaster.
After serving his country, he eventually went to work for McDonnell Douglas.
When I worked at Santa Monica for a while, then they transferred to Huntington Beach, and then I transferred to Florida on the space program. And I met many of the astronauts just at dinners and so forth, nothing personal. And I enjoyed that very much.
He also met a beautiful coworker, now his wife of 42 years. Together, Al and Mavis have a blended family of 5 children, 7 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren.
I eventually retired from McDonnell Douglas, but not before I served on the F-15 program, and they shipped me to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. At that time, I'd just gotten married with my wife, Mavis Ann, and so she came along with me.
The company had us well taken care of, and then we got to travel a lot, and that's why I say, coming from Minnesota, a small farm town, I never dreamt I would be in Paris and Greece and, you know, all over the world. So it was exciting for me.
By his retirement in 1995, they had settled in the Stanton home where they live today. But retirement didn't last long.
Within a month or 2 after staying home and going to our local council meetings here in Stanton, they asked me to run on the planning commission because they didn't want me to complain anymore.
He quickly went from the Planning Commission to a city council seat and went on to serve for 23 years. He takes pride in a long list of accomplishments, especially for helping to make Stanton a safer place to live. We
still have problems. Every city has problems. But it's now not a gang-infested area like it was back in the early 80s. And it's much safer to go down Beach Boulevard in the evening.
Their home is filled with wonderful memories and mementos. But one plaque on the wall remembers a deep tragedy. the untimely death of their son Robert at age 47. Through the bad and the good, they have stayed strong.
And last year, my wife and I decided it was time for me to retire. And I asked her if I could run one more time just to help the team that was running, and I won in my re-election, and I stayed for 2 years.
But the time had come, and midterm, he decided to step down. On his last day, he was presented with a collection of memorabilia, including the gavel he would occasionally have to hammer down during his 5 terms as mayor.
Maybe once or twice, but I used it quite often just to quiet down the audience. And it was a lot of fun. And really, I look back and I can't believe that the people that served with me in the past.
No regrets. It was hard to do it and stay home, but I'm still very active on the Lions and the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors. And I intend to stay there as long as my health will let me.
They will also be quite busy with family. They help care for their youngest great-granddaughter, and at 89 years young, you can bet Al Ethans will always find a way to serve and care for others.
So it's been a joy, and when I left, I had a very good ceremony. I was very sad to leave because it was part of my life for all those years, and I was very active in our city, and I will continue to support anything I can to continue going in the right direction.
Hey, Kyle.
Hi.
Great story.
Thank you. How great were those goats?
And we're back to Billy Goats.
What do you call a lazy goat? Billy Idol. How about a goat that likes the beach? Billy Ocean. An outlaw goat, Billy the Kid. And a goat who paints? Vincent Van Gogh. Yes.
Hey, Kyle, did you know that if a goat eats office supplies, it's on a staple diet?
Okay, that's funny. Christina made a goat joke. And stop. I get to tell the goat jokes.
Whatever floats your goat.
Okay, well that's gonna wrap it up for this edition of Orange Slices.
Remember, if you have an idea about a person, place, or thing that would make a great slice, let us know. Find our Orange Slices page on Facebook. We would love to hear from you.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Kyle Kittleson.
And I'm Christina McCauley.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, how about a goat that likes the beach?
Billy Ocean.
Yes! Okay, a goat. Sorry.
That. Keep the chin exercises.
This is a real thing.
You'll never have a double chin. Okay, now we're headed out to the farm for an environmental science lesson from some. They say that if you do the facial exercises, it gives you more wrinkles, actually. It does. Because you're.
Well, I'm gonna stop.
Using it.
But this works, right?
That works.
Okay, I'm gonna keep doing this.
Or how about this, when they're like, get the model on set, where's the model?
Because you're
and
a
you're
model?
like, no, but you're not really. We're neither of us are really.
No, I'm not a model. I'm a terrible model.
Except for on the cat.
Oh, I would be terrible there. I used to have a really defined jawline, but I slacked off on
That's why,
these.
no, you would be great, sachet.
No, I think that would make it terrible.
Catwalk.
You're right, no, it doesn't work.
You got it.
What's your beauty secret? Fashion. Walk the runway. Yes.
Exercise.
Goat yoga.
Drinking.
Goat yoga.
Goat yoga.
Exercise.
Yeah. Water.
No.
Vodka. Love the camera.
If I could pay someone to work out for me, I would do that. Like, I just want to have someone just take my hand and
just
do it
this.
for me. Yeah.
See, this is what happens when we're not on camera. Kyle just steps off and just does
Just does
chin
this.
exercises. Doesn't it hurt?
A little bit, but no pain, no gain.